This is the canyon of Huarachi in Chihuahua, Mexico. Chihuahua is the home of the Tarahumara Indians. Here in the Sierra Madre Mountains, there are numerous canyons, and in them live about 45,000 Tarahumara. For hundreds of years, they've used these canyons as both home and refuge, because deep in their canyons, they've been able to resist almost everything and everyone who's tried to change them, including Apaches and Spanish and Mexican soldiers. They remain Tarahumara and hold on to their traditions with a firm grip. From here, you can see a Tarahumara homestead. It's a long, difficult descent from here, and since the air is very thin at 8,000 feet, it's an exhausting one for you or for me. Only the Tarahumara can do it with ease, because walking and running up and down these canyons for them is a part of everyday life.
Here the soil is thin and rocky. The rain is seasonal, and the winters quite cold. But on the high mesas, as in the wider valleys, there is land which can be farmed. In these places, the Tarahumara grow corn and cluster their homesteads to form villages.
Behind me is the homestead of Hermilo Arteaga and his family. They are one of 57 families who live in this shallow canyon of Caborachi. Their homestead has three main buildings. You can see a log house, a plank house, and a new addition under construction with cinder block. Now these three buildings sit around an area known as the patio. It's a flat area, and this is where most things happen. The houses are used for sleeping and storage, so the family activities are carried out in the patio. That's where they greet their guests, and that's where they entertain their friends.
At present, Hermilo is working on the cinder block extension to his log house. A friend has come over to help out. Hermilo has been his own architect and is now acting as the builder. It will take him many months to finish this addition. The materials cost money, and the Arteagas have very little money to spend. That's why the help of neighbors is essential. This is Andreas, Hermilo's son. Andreas is 13 and old enough to help his father in most things. Bringing corn home from the fields is his first job every day. Collecting firewood is another one of Andreas's jobs. A layer of cloth padding is laid onto the donkey's back. On the padding, a heavy load of wood can be tied. The Tarahumara use donkeys for much of their heavy work. The donkeys, or burros, were introduced to Mexico by the Spanish settlers. Today, most Tarahumara families own a donkey. Those who don't freely borrow a neighbor's. Sharing among the Tarahumara is essential for survival. Wood is also essential, since most Tarahumara food is cooked. Corn, beans, and squash are boiled. Tortillas are baked or fried. Andreas can now take home enough wood to last a few days. Andreas's mother, Maria Elvira Arteaga, spends much of her time washing clothes in the stream near the homestead. All the Tarahumara in Caborachi use this stream for washing their clothes. That means that each day, enough fresh water must flow down from the mountains above to carry away the soap suds left in the stream. Andreas's little sister is too young to be of much help, but she can learn just by watching. Corn is the staple of the Tarahumara diet. Andreas's older sister puts soaked corn into a grinder. With the grinder, she makes a coarse corn mush. Next, she takes the corn mush to the metate, a large grooved stone for kneading. With her hands, she works the mush into a soft, damp ball. Andreas hands her a grinding stone. She moistens her hands, and with the grinding stone, she further refines the corn mush, breaking it down into a thick dough. Now the cornmeal dough can be shaped and flattened into round, thin tortillas, which the Tarahumara call raimike. Entertaining to the Tarahumara usually means serving tesguino, a beer made from fermented corn. The governor is the guest of honor at Ermilo's party. He therefore drinks first and serves the others. Ermilo, as the host, drinks last. The men stick together while the women gather to the side. The women with the infants have a sort of separate society. The care and feeding of their young is the most important part of life. There are no cribs or babysitters, so wherever mother goes, baby goes, carried in a shawl on the mother's back. After the children can walk, Tarahumara mothers can turn to other tasks, such as sewing. Tarahumara women make their own clothes. Often they wear 3 or 4 skirts at the same time. Their colorful blouses are all hand-stitched and are often made from several different patterns. By the time Tarahumara children reach the age of 6 or 7, they are old enough to take on the responsibility of herding the family goats and sheep. This is an all-day job and usually covers several miles of thin grazing pasture land spotted among the cornfields. Keeping the goats out of the corn is a major part of the job. Rocks are thrown at stray animals, and dogs help keep the herd together. Goats provide milk, and the sheep provide wool for blankets and clothing. Goat skins are dried and stored. The skins make sitting mats, backpacks, and bags. Turkeys were part of the Tarahumara culture long before the Spanish arrived. Ancient Tarahumara made blankets with turkey feathers. Today, the turkeys are raised for food. Among the animals recently introduced to the Tarahumara are chickens. Their eggs, called toriawara, are either eaten or sold. During the day, chickens forage about the homestead. At night, they sleep in elevated chicken houses. During the rainy season, the houses keep the chickens dry. Pigs are also recent additions to the Tarahumara domestic animals. Few families raise pigs because they're expensive to feed. Most of the crops grown by the Tarahumara go to feed the people, with very few leftovers. Corn harvesting in a big field usually requires many hands. This is Andreas's grandfather's field during the final harvest. Many people of Caborchi have come over to bring in the remaining ears of corn. Picking and husking are done at the same time. Even the women with infants share in the work. The ears of corn are thrown into a central clearing. There, they are put into baskets. The owner repays his neighbor's kindness with corn beer, tesquino. The tesquino is passed all around to men and women alike. It may seem that with building their houses, raising their animals, and tending their crops, the Tarahumara have no time for recreation. But they often have time or take time to relax by running. As a matter of fact, the Tarahumara call themselves Raramari, which means foot runners. Those who have studied the Tarahumara know that they like to race by running in teams while kicking a ball in relay fashion. They call such a race a rarahipa. The Tarahumara are not sprinters, and they don't run particularly fast. They run for distance. These men have been runners since they were small boys. It's as much a part of their heritage as corn and tesquino. One Tarahumara is said to have run 600 miles in 5 days. Spanish settlers used to hire the Tarahumara to chase wild horses into corrals. They had seen the Tarahumara catch deer by running them to exhaustion. In 1928, 2 Tarahumara men represented Mexico in the World Olympics at Amsterdam. Spectators lined the race course to shout encouragement to favorites and tease the others. The spectators especially enjoy the women's race, the Dawarami. 2 teams of women compete in running while tossing a hoop with a stick. Like the men's race, the Dawarami is a continuing relay. The course for the women is shorter with fewer laps, but it is still a long race. Women of all ages run, but the truly successful runners have been working at it since they were little girls, herding the goats and sheep. The team which falls behind usually brings laughter and gentle ridicule. At the end of the race, which has lasted almost an hour, the women are not noticeably very winded. Both men and women of the Tarahumara are physically well conditioned. Theirs is a culture built on hard work, making most of the things they need and making the most of what they have. They still keep to themselves their traditions and their heritage.